Hello, my War Thunder enthusiasts, the Demonic here, and welcome back. Today we're gonna discuss about the Messerschmitt 262 A-1a. But first of all, I would like to ask you, do you think my videos are a bit too long? Or do you like them when they're long? Do you like me playing two games like I usually do? Or do you think one is more than enough to teach you something? Or because you haven't really responded to that topic. But anyway, back to the game. These are two games on the Berlin map. The first one is in a night battle, a really short night battle, which I had to cut out because it was a lot of running and chasing and so on. So I really wanted to just to show you where I usually climb and how do I pick people off and so on. From what I see, the biggest disadvantage this plane has is definitely acceleration and reaching top speed at any given moment, unless you're in like a really long dive. And well, since it doesn't climb well, it's really hard to achieve such a thing. Also, the bullet ballistics are quite weird because it's a really heavy shell, since it's like 30 millimeters. So it's more of that it feels like you're shooting grenades at enemies, not bullets. Okay, so we skipped to the part where I catch an F-80 AFK climbing to my side for some reason. I don't know why did they even climb this way. He sees my bullets in the last moment, so he's now trying to dodge. I'm not even gonna try to shoot when he reaches more than 0.5 kilometers, because you can shoot people out from like 0.7 or 8. That's the maximum if they're flying in a straight line. But nobody flies in a straight line when there's a 262 behind him. Now you see he's trying to do a barrel roll to make me overshoot, but my engines are too weak for him to make me overshoot, even with air brakes. So I do recommend trying to get as close as possible to the enemy before taking your shots, and if they're on your tail, just make them overshoot, because it's really not that hard in a 262 to make the enemy overshoot. At this point, I'm just waiting for them to come on my tail, because that's the easiest way you're gonna ever get a shot in this plane. I see the F-80 is trying to be sneaky, and I'm just gonna level off and wait for him to come to me. Here he comes. Just wait for him to start shooting. Even though that can be dangerous if he's using stealth, I could have gotten myself shot down. Okay, now thanks to my amazing engine performance, I can just do a single barrel roll and he's already in front of me. I'm just managing the throttle, making sure that he stays in front of me. And this thing has, this thing has quite a nice elevator control and low speed, so you can even go pinch up and down, even upside down with no problems. So really, the only actual threat you have in the whole matchmaker is the long wing, the Meteor Mark 4F, and the first Meteor, the Mark 3, because it can outturn you in a horizontal, and also it has better acceleration. So if you're stuck in a real low speed turn fight, you will not be able to run away, nor you will be able to outturn him, unless he does a head on like this guy. Yeah, he's gone. So yeah, like in most low tier jets like the MiG-9 or the early Meteors, I mean the first Meteor, the C Meteor is a different story. You mostly rely on overshooting and outmaneuvering and tricking your enemies to do head-ons and so on, simply because you don't have the engine power to catch them, so you constantly rely on either climbing to the side, which for jets is not really recommended, and waiting for them to come to you, which is just annoying. And by the way, that last MiG-9 eventually bailed when I got close to him, so I'm not gonna waste 5 minutes of footage just for that. And I also wanted to show you how far on the research tree I am for the Germans. As you see, as you have seen, I have no bombers, and I'm not even close to the CL. So yeah. Okay, so for the second game, the same strategy. I climbed that is southeast, I think, and to like approximately like 2 kilometers altitude, just like a shallow climb to gain some speed, and that's it. Just go straight back into the enemy. The only problem with this is if you're unlucky, you can get caught by like a swarm of F-80s or Banshees, which does happen a lot, especially since the new battle ratings. And speaking of battle ratings, I did see some forum posts for the new tiering system and battle matchmaker, and also, well, how the new tiers are gonna progress. They're gonna do like a half, like semi historical and semi performance battle ratings, which is exactly what we need. So, on the one hand, you will have jets who are gonna face by their performance differences, and on the other hand, you will have jets that face themselves because they were made in certain era, which means, for example, the Yak 3P is gonna actually face Tempest 5s and Bearcats, which is gonna be quite interesting to see. Okay, back to the gameplay. At this point, I'm on 2,000 meters, and for some reason, again, there are people climbing this way, and of course they're above me, both. So I'm just leveling off and having my speed up and waiting for them to come to me. Oh yeah, I forgot to mention that you cannot break your wings in this plane even at top speed. Now I see the Banshee has just done a head-on, so I'm gonna pull up to him. He couldn't aim at me, so I was safe. Okay, the F-80 is coming now, just gonna level off and wait for him. I see the Meteor in front as well, but he's dead. Okay, now I'm just gonna try to bait the F-80 to start, the P-80 to start fighting me. He's not coming. Just gonna pull back into him and just trail him until he decides to fight. He almost shoots down the 262, but he'll be fine. And once again, as you see, I'm stuck in a situation where I have to wait for them, and I can't even catch a P-80. So I'm forced either to climb behind them, or I'm just gonna find another target. And so, yeah, the best way you can handle like enemies that are faster than you, as I always say, is just climb. Do like a shallow climb behind them, and they eventually, when they like bump the end of the map, or when they try to turn back into you, you will have a lot more altitude than they do, unless they have like a superior plane, like a Mark, like a long wing which can climb and run away from you. Then you are pretty much stuck on waiting for him to come back to you. I don't know why, but I always enjoy the low tier jets, simply because they seem more immersive for me, because they always make me think, oh, what I need to do next. In like a MiG-15 or in a Saber, you don't have to think a lot. I mean, in the MiG a lot more because of the aim, but in the Saber you just fly in a straight line and wait for the people to come in your guns. And I spot the Bearcat, and this was one of the funniest kills for me, because I literally just tapped the trigger because I didn't even expect to hit him. And I don't know why, but in these 30 millimeters, it always says that you crit his gear, like no matter what you hit. Okay, the P-80 is now interested in me, and he decides to scratch my paint, which is not a good thing. So we need our revenge now. But he decides to run, so that's not gonna work. And now I'm stuck again in a horizontal flight. I mean, another thing you can do is completely break off and let him come to your tail, but that's not really recommended, especially if you are alone, which means he's gonna try to air brake and not let you overshoot, make him overshoot, and so on. Okay, I see a Banshee coming at really low speed, so I'm just gonna spray at him, and he's dead. Here comes another Banshee. These 30s are not that bad in head-ons, even stock, simply because you have those like bombshells you can drop from like 2 kilometers, and they will slowly get to them, unless of course, if they're stupid enough to stay in still try to do a head-on with you. Unfortunately, this is where the fun ends, because they just kept running away from us until the Hortons killed all the tanks, and that's how the game ended, pretty much. And in conclusion, I don't think this is like the best starting jet. I think the Horton, even the 162, would be more suitable, even though the 162 has a bad engine at the moment. But comparing it to some other jets at the same and even a lower battle rating, I don't really see the point of flying it unless you want a challenge or something. Anyway, thank you for watching and see you in the next one. Bye.